Every Peace Corps volunteer grows as a person. I don't think any of us are the same people we were 2 years ago, for better or worse.
I don't think I've ever spent more than 10 minutes talking to someone without ending up crying laughing. I just met people here who are willing to take a joke way past its expiration date. Just like keep going with it, keep running with it, keep running until it's so dry. And I love that.
What would you say your biggest challenge has been?
The isolation of being in a zone, you're always surrounded by people, but it's people that maybe they don't necessarily understand what your culture is. They don't understand your expectations of privacy, and so that led to lots of really uncomfortable moments of just like I want to be alone. I can't be alone, but I'm also always alone, and so it's a very interesting feeling to feel that way.
So recently, my zone was in quarantine, and that in itself was a huge challenge. School wasn't happening. All of the stores where would normally we get food, the market, everything was shut down. No public gatherings of any sort were happening. So it was just incredibly boring, and it just felt super unproductive, nothing to do. It was cold. I said, okay, this is a good opportunity because everyone else, all my teachers are here at site. They didn't go anywhere. They can't. So this is a good opportunity to spend time with them. So I almost every day I would go over to my biology and chemistry teacher, my good friend, I'm close with them, and just hang with their family, play cards. And it ended up being like a super fun month, actually.
Getting over the fact that I might be the first and only black person people will ever meet here, or at least in the small community that I was placed in, and that I'm almost a representative of black people as a whole. So I was like, I need to start treating myself like I'm going to be a special person in their lives, which I'm like, oh, I'm black, and that's nothing to do with it, but it is something here because you never know that you're bringing with you more than you are as a person.
You realize that the novelty of being a foreigner just doesn't fade. Even though, like, you're walking down the street, you've seen this child every single day for the past 2 years, and they're still like, I go to the batch. Then, like, going to another town and being like, whoa, a black person.
Great apartment, great city, great teachers, great community. I have nothing to complain about.
I moved midwinter and every single window was broken in my apartment, so that was a rough winter.
Well, at least you have shower.
Yeah, I have to plug it in.
The first year you get frustrated with those things. It's like you want to take a shower, but the pipe exploded, or it's January and it's freezing cold in your home because a radiator exploded. But then, oddly enough, you start getting used to those things. And by like the end of your second year, and like the winter is, almost over, and it's like, oh, that just happened. It's like, what can you do now at this point? It's like somehow you manage to work around those things.
The Mongolian winter in my wooden house, which sounds like, oh, that's cool, but in Mongolia, wooden houses mean you have to make a fire. I wouldn't say it was something that's difficult. It's just it takes a lot of time and effort.
Making fire.
Not chopping wood. She doesn't chop wood.
Thanks, Laura.
I think just learning about my own limitations and that I have fewer than I think I do, that I can always go further. I'm a lot stronger. I do all of the chores for my gear myself. I chop my wood, I get my coal, I go to the well. Those are things I never thought I would do, but I can do them, and they're not really that difficult.
Challenge. Well, I was site mates with Rachel.
From a couple's perspective,
I think a lot of things are easier being here in a couple. Like there's like less pressure to, I don't know, get married off to every unmarried person at your side.
We didn't like each other.
Oh my god, yeah, we didn't like each other during PhD. Like,
we got along.
We were terrible, yeah.
But like to start, we didn't click, and then we did.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And then I clicked in November, and she took like 8 extra months to fall in love with me.
in America, it's like, oh, I have my friend group, and like James has his friend group, and like we love each other, but like we have our own lives. And here it's like, no, you're literally the only person I have. Like,
yeah.
So you see a lot more of each other.
It's a great way to crash test a relationship.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I challenged my own expectations coming here. I expected to be really busy. I expected my community to be very like welcoming and like kind of absorbing. And it took me a long time to realize that I had to make those things happen for myself, that no one was going to help me with those. And kind of once I reset those expectations, things flowed a lot better.
The work ethics of many people here in the country. But it was a challenge, and you know, we got over it.
Just trying to not expect too much from my CPs. Not to hold them to my work ethics or my American understanding of how teaching should be done and how work should be done.
I just had to let go of my addiction to having things be on time on my schedule, and also diarrhea.
One of the most common challenges is indigestion. Just eating all the heavy boats food, the greasy meat. Luckily, Peace Corps gives us some sort of generic Tums.
I'd say my biggest challenge is staying healthy and staying in country.
They got my name wrong though. They kept calling me Rick. Though that, now that I think of it, they might have been saying. Doesn't matter. I'm very popular.
I was about to leave to America to visit my family in January, and I lost my alien card, and someone found it. I didn't even know I lost it until someone knocked on my door, and I opened it. They said that they had my card. You're Kathy, right? You're Kathy. Give me money, give me money. I think that's something that's common, is just foreigners getting extorted for something they do or don't do or lose.
I think we've all experienced the difficulties of language barrier, and that can be really isolating when you're out at sight. By American standards, I wouldn't say I have great friends, but I have some, and I'm very proud of the progress I've made at my site.
Being so overwhelmed at sight, and honestly just wanting to go to a gare in a SOM and be antisocial and be like my little introvert self, and then being overwhelmed with like so many different people at one time. But I think Diana said it really well today during the like sharing session. She was like, you can always do a little more than you thought that you could do.
I didn't really know myself before I came here, and then I realized I hate everything.
Sometimes it was cold and I would have to put a coat on, and sometimes I have.
Being here has really given me the skill to be able to like just say to relax and really accept things the way that they are and love them for what they are. I'm really grateful for Mongolia for teaching me that. It was
We're grateful for you!
2 years in Peace Corps. What's a memory that stands out to you?
Where Kevin, Anna, and I were teaching together, and we were teaching like foods and like fruits and vegetables. And so we go around and ask kids different foods that they had eaten that day. And so one girl goes, you know, tea, and one kid goes, a banana, which is like a lie. And then we get to this part where this girl just goes, milk bread. Like Kevin, it's so funny now. Like Kevin and I and Anna were like literally peeing our pants during the entire thing, and then Kevin just like pauses and he goes, Milk bread. And like at that point we had to like stop the class. I had my nose to like the chalkboard, like no one could keep it together. It was so embarrassing. Like we were being observed at the time. It was like the worst thing ever, but it was also the best team teaching I've ever done.
Nancy and I started taking dance lessons just for fun, just for recreation and exercise. And we were learning a traditional Mongolian dance routine. And one day our teacher came up to us and she was like, okay, great. So you guys are going to perform this at the public theater next week. And we were like, excuse me, what? And Nancy and I looked at each other. We're like, we're not ready. There's no way we can do this. Like, that's not why we were taking these lessons. And the teacher's like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And so Nancy and I were like, all right, I guess we're doing this. We performed at the theater and our friends came out and supported us, and it ended up being a lot of fun. But we realized that we were the only adults performing. Everybody else was under 12 years old.
I took a trip with my Hasha family for Sargent this year that was over 50 hours in the car, and I met all of my Hasha dad's parents and his family members and his cousins, and it was super overwhelming, but also like a really cool road trip. Even if by the end like you sort of want to murder everyone, it's still like something that you'll never experience anywhere else.
So one of my favorite memories every single year is on New Year's, when all of the foreigners would get together in the town square, and usually there were also a bunch of Mongolians standing around, and usually we would smuggle a champagne bottle over with us, and we would use someone's watch and do a countdown and then scream Happy New Year. And none of the Mongolians were doing that.
Happy New Year's!
Cheers to a bright future.
They were just watching us be crazy. But that was a really fun way of like tying in American culture with being in this frozen Mongolian place.
One of my favorite memories is working alongside my friend Dashtulam. I helped her apply for the FLTA program. It's a Fulbright. And in August now, after a year-long process, she'll be going to Philadelphia to work at UPenn. So it's one of my biggest achievements, I think.
Queso was the life force of our PST group, super energy.
Until one day.
So we are waiting for Queso and Jason to come. Dan is very stressed out. He's like, where are they? In walks in Queso and Jason, looking like zombies.
Yo. You turn around and say, what happened? And it's like, I was like, I just kind of like looked
just
at her.
growled at me.
You know, our dads took us over to the abandoned factory where they work. Strange, okay, that they work in an abandoned factory, but they were the G-Joys of the place. And so we were there, it's like, oh, cool guys, we're here playing pool, having a nice time. And
just
then, like,
hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out. And beforehand, we bought like 2 big old, like, Tom Peeves, 2 big bottles. And so they're there, and they kind of like go inside, they're like talking about something. And I was like, Jason, what are Tasha guys talking about? And so like, they go and they come up to us, and they want to buy some vodka. And I was like, sure, because I totally did not know the power of Mongolian vodka until this day. And it begins. And we're there, kind of having a couple of drinks, having a nice little time. And then and then Jason starts drinking a little bit. We get real happy. We start singing a bunch of jaunty songs like "Camp Town Racist," sing this song, dude. You know, Jason does that. And as soon as you know, there were like 3 vodka bottles that we finished by like 2 hours. And like we're going, and I'm there like starting to say, I'm saying like all these Buddhist prayers and stuff like that, and I'm just out of my mind. I mean, Jason's gonna be great. He's doing great. He's just doing great. I screamed, I was like, Jason, you're doing it. And I'm just there having a great time. And then I kind of like pass out. In the morning, it was just a complete daze and haze. And me and Jason were like, we gotta meet G. Nixon today. And I was like, oh, okay, so let's go. And where we kind of like trudge in like a couple of zombies and kind of live out the day half beaten by this strange vodka.
It was the bonfire night we had for MST. Just Sebastian pulling out his small Bluetooth speaker and then playing music, but then it's like it ran out of battery, so we ended up using like a smaller one. But yeah, like everyone's singing and dancing, just having a ball.
Yeah. When we were little babies going to site, and we were so scared of all our stuff getting stolen on the bus.
I had no idea just how the bus transportation system worked at all, like whether the bus was going to stop, if so, for how long, what we would eat.
And so we stopped at the halfway stop, and everyone starts getting off the bus. And I was freaking out like, oh no, like someone's gonna steal our stuff. Like we have
We can't
literally
just leave it on the
everything
bus.
we own. We can't just leave it on the bus.
Sorry.
So it's like, well, maybe James will just stay with the
Yeah,
stuff.
so I spent the
And
entire lunch stop.
We'll take turns going to have lunch. So I get off the bus driver just looks at James and then locks the bus with James on it. And he's like looking out the window like, help me. Meanwhile, the whole life break is just like watching outside the window of the bus that you were locked into.
Rebecca and I were going on the bus from UB to our host family to visit them. Suddenly, like, there's all this like smoke coming, and the people behind us are yelling, and we realized like there's a fire like underneath where we are sitting. So, like, everyone behind us is trying to get out, and everyone at the front of us has no idea what's happening. They're like, why do you pull over? Like, I guess we'll like slowly get our things and like slowly get off the bus. We couldn't even be scared in the moment because it was just like so absurd what was happening.
We have so many musical people. Like, some of the things that spring to mind are like the jam sessions when everyone's outside, just sitting around and listening to people play and talk. I think that's something really special our cohort has, and like all just joining in and singing together.
Well, we were all at the compound, and Eldar was giving his little talk to all of us, and he was talking about the healthy of like food safety, right? And Andy asked him if he could use his medical kit thermometer to put into his meat, and Eldar like couldn't understand what was happening until someone was like, "No, Eldar, he's asking if he can use his med kit thermometer in like a pot roast," and Eldar just looks at him and he's like, "No."
I have 14 teachers that I work with, and I didn't tell them it was my birthday. I wanted a quiet day. I was going to take a nap, and my phone rang, and they were all at my house with a big cake, fancy Gerber cake, with a candle that exploded while I was holding the cake, and then they exploded a popper on top of that. All of them showed up, and I felt very loved on my 72nd birthday.
It's just like the cutest little love story. When they had their first kiss, this is also the day that Eldar was talking about what is a good kiss and what is a rough kiss. Rebecca gets into the car, we barely close this little meeker van, we all turn, it's all ladies and then Jim in the back. And we're like, did it happen? Did it happen? And Rebecca's like, yeah, we kissed. And it was just this like wave of like girls screams, and then Jim just in the back. And we were all asking, we're like, was it a rough kiss? Like, would Eldar approve? Was it safe or unsafe?
I decided to go hiking to explore the surrounding countryside. So I set off around 6:30 p.m., walk up to the cemetery, walked in, there's nobody around. And as I'm walking along, I'm like, holy, there's a skull here. And I keep walking along, and then there's a grave that's like been dug up and vandalized of some sort, and there's actually bones in the grave. I was so freaked out that I was like, holy crap, and ran back to site. What's happened is, Mongolians rarely visit cemeteries. There's no cemetery caretaker. Very rarely do people go out there, that if anything happens out there that's stolen, it's just left like that.
A very big reality of Peace Corps is being single for 2 years, for most of us at least. So you have to find, joy where you can. And when that new cohort comes in and you have fresh meat, you're just like,
I was asked to participate in a play we were doing, right? Last minute, of course. I played the role of the Russian female doctor. So that was fun. So I didn't know what was happening, but I got thrown into this. They dressed me up in a dress, makeup and everything. And I said my line, and it was just fun. It was a really good time. I'm glad I got to be a part of that.
We had a dance show, and I was doing a tap dance in it. And of course, the culture center director was like teaching me how to tap dance, but she didn't have tap shoes, so she borrowed my shoes, and I only gave her one. I knew if I gave them both, I would never get them back. So she took them to like the Godolchin to have a tap shoe made out of her old, like whatever shoes she had. And then like 9 months later, I still did not have my shoe back. And then I had to move sites, and I was calling this woman like for 2 weeks, like 3 months later, this random phone number called me and I answered. And it was just some guy yelling at me in Mongolia, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. It was just some random guy I've never met who had like traveled all the way across the country and brought me back my tap shoe. He was so confused. He's like, why am I bringing this girl one shoe that's like heavy and metal and whatever?
A bunch of us went up to the top of one of the mountains, and there were lots of like large boulders, and there were 2 boulders that were kind of at a distance from each other. For some reason, we thought like, oh, let's see if we can jump that. And Brandon was like a cat. He just leaps across. The rest of us, we were like, I don't know if I can do this. And then Godwin, you know, like a minute goes by and he's still standing there like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And then like nothing happened. And then all of a sudden he just like leaps. And like he realizes how close the rocks actually are. He just was like, oh. And everyone's like, oh, it's really not that bad.
During our IST, it was like maybe 11:55 at night, and Maura came in, just got everyone to go to a room to wish and sing Daniel Chang a happy birthday. And we started singing this, and Daniel was there on the bed with a teapot full of whatever substance you think. And then of course we get knocked on the door, and it's Dogun. And you know, we just like, wait, and we had to finish singing, and then everyone dispersed afterwards. But it was just like a picturesque moment of everyone just enjoying singing happy birthday to our good friend Daniel.
You chose to stay a 3rd year. What was your reason for that?
I thought you were supposed to question my sanity, not ask it so nicely. Environmental education is what I want to do later, and the best way to do that throughout the world is with cultural understanding, which I feel I have a good amount of here, and I have a good amount of language in order to be able to express what I see. So with those skills, I felt that I was in a good position to be able to guide Mongolia.
I've put in a lot of work into the relationships that I have, and leaving at this time seems premature. Next year, I'm really looking forward to seeing how these relationships are going to further grow and develop. And that's really my goal for this next year.
Now, describe Peace Corps in 1 word.
Challenging.
Adventure.
Gaholte.
Challenging.
Depends.
Beautifully tough.
Love.
Acceptance. Bizarre.
Love.
Exciting.
Unique. Adventure.
Worthwhile.
Growth.
Improvise.
Amusing.
Strength.
Enlightening.
Tedious.
Maddening.
Pirate ship swing.
Unique.
Humbling.
Leaders. Gratifying.
Life-changing.
Depends.
Unpredictability.
Monotony. Freedom.
Zuge, zuge.
Winding. Just.
Well, I wish everybody the best of luck. I know you're all going to go on to do some really spectacular things.
Thanks, guys, for everything.
Yes. It's been wonderful.
Stay humble and have fun with your life.
I just wish everyone the best, and positive or negative, everyone grew from this experience.
It has just been an absolute pleasure. Good luck to all of you, and this better not be the last time I see you. Come visit me. Find me wherever the world I am.
Wisdom from my shirt: don't take your life too seriously. You know, just have fun. Lose some money, but you can make that money back. You know? Yeah.
Just like us.
When are we gonna make that money, though?
Stay fly, y'all.
It's been an amazing 2 years, and I'm just so thankful to have been a part of this group. Good luck moving forward in all of your adventures. And I also just want to say that Gene said we're his favorites.
Take care, everybody. Be good and be safe, as always.
Never lose sight of what it is that needs to be changed in the world. And speak for the people that don't have voices. Speak for those that people know nothing about. And to keep up the spirit of Peace Corps and to continue to fight the fight.
Congratulations to everyone. We've done it. And can't wait for the 10-year reunion.
Where's that gonna be?
Hawaii.